I love this question. It's thought-provoking. So, how is Cyberpunk supposed to be dystopian? Because even your average third world gangster has access to better and faster healthcare than anyone who's currently alive. And the meth junkies have better education and technical prowess than most modern engineers. Aging solved, even if you're a low income individual. Illness, no such thing, and you do have the right to bear arms. So, he wants to explain how CP77 isn't a utopia without using phrases like corporations are bad. I just want to point out that Cyberpunk is not a critique to capitalism, but it's a critique to corporatism. So you have like corporations that are going to war with each other, corporations colonizing entire places. So it's more like a criticism, I guess, to the East India Trading Company, if you will. But okay, see, the difference between Cyberpunk and other universes, I don't know if it's like truly a dystopia in the way that Warhammer 40k is. Like in Warhammer 40k, it's very difficult to look at the lore and say, oh, this is a place where I would want to live in. No one wants to live in Warhammer 40k, and even like if you go to like a specific setting and you're like, okay, I want to be this planetary governor or something like this because like he's on a garden planet and he's enjoying life. Even then, you run the risk of Dark Eldar raids, orc campaigns, chaos infestation. So, yeah, I mean, if you're comparing Cyberpunk to that, I can see why Cyberpunk doesn't look dystopian. But I guess like what the opening poster wants to say is something that's very true to modern nature, right? Like even now in America, you will have people that are complaining that they are living paycheck to paycheck. But when you look at them complaining, they have a house over their head. They get 3 meals a day. They have a computer. They have a color TV. Right, like when people were complaining back in the day that they're living paycheck to paycheck, they were complaining that they can't pay for electricity, that they don't have access to clean water. So, you know, like the modern complaints, even though they may seem like, oh, well, I'm being very poor, you're comparing yourself to other people. You're not comparing yourself to people who lived before you, and you don't appreciate that the society we have now is far better than the society we have in the past. So in that regards, I would say that yes, Cyberpunk 77 is definitely like a better place to live where even some of the poorest, they have better conditions and better amenities than most people around the world have today. But with that in mind, like there are certain things that happen in Cyberpunk 77 that don't really happen today, at least not on the scale that we're told. So for example, like companies poisoning people, whether it is by accident or whether it is intentional, companies using people as lab rats. Again, like you can find such cases that have happened in the past or are happening today. But take into account that in Cyberpunk is at a such larger scale that people aren't shocked by it. Like they consider it normal. The age of the people that are in CP77 seems to be around 40. Like your life expectancy is 40 unless you're some of the upper classes. So the deaths as well can be incredibly violent. I mean, you get to see in the video game how often people get shot and whatnot. The justice system is a lot more unfair than the ones we have here. Police officers can abuse their power. So it is dystopian from certain perspectives. But I can definitely understand why someone would want to live in the Cyberpunk universe. Like, take into account that if you just happen to live a normal life, like if you're an average citizen, so you're not like part of any gang, you're not, you know, like definitely trying to commit criminal acts. I mean, you get like your house, right? Like your Klaus Schwabian one-room apartment. But on top of that, you get like VR and video games and whatever. But you still get 3 meals a day. You still have a roof over your head. You're still not homeless. And when you go to the company, you're a wage slave. But like I just described the life of many people that live today. So on top of that, you now have like all these futuristic things, like these really cool gadgets and these really cool stuff that I can see why it's appealing and it's attracting to many people. But now, if you want to go even further, you do have the chance of climbing the corporate ladder. Like in Cyberpunk, it is possible that an individual can join a corporation, and then they can just climb up the ranks. And if you do that, then yeah, it stops being dystopian completely. Like if you're at the level of middle management or even above, I mean, you get to have certain luxuries and certain abilities that no one has in the modern day. So yeah, it's kind of a stretch, I guess. It's just dystopian for the characters that we follow in the RPGs and in the video games, because they're usually like people living a crime infested life. You're talking about people who are in gangs. And if you think about it, like, those people still have it better than the people that are in LA today, right? And their life expectancy is also probably low. I guess, like, you can say that there's less surveillance, but does it really matter? Yeah, now you do have, like, that aspect of human augmentation, where like, the body of a person isn't something sacred. It's like a sculpture. You can, chop it away and replace it with mechanical parts. You can have, like, brain implants and chip implants and stuff. But like, from what I see, most of it seems to be voluntary. So like, if a person wants to do it, like they want to cut off their arm and replace it with a bionicle weapon or a bionicle arm, is that really immoral? Like, if the person decides to do that to their own body, I guess, like, that is the question. And even if it is immoral, I wouldn't necessarily consider it dystopian, because if you want to live a life pure, and you don't want those things being implanted into you, then that option exists. So as long as you don't have, like, people being compelled, like, forcefully dragged and having their bodies altered, then I generally, like, do not think that it's a dystopian society. Still, you can say it's an immoral society, but I think it takes more than that. And not to mention, like, the society is functioning, right? Like, it's not something that... unlike socialism, I guess, throughout human history. Like, this society actually functions. So, yeah, I definitely understand why Cyberpunk is not really as dystopian as people make it sound. And if you look outside of the place where most of the settings are set up in, which is being part of a gang, being part of the criminal underworld, then it actually becomes a really nice place to live. Especially if you are, like, upper middle class, and you are in a corporation and you're, like, middle management level, then it becomes a great place to live. So anyway, right, let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.